You're listening to Everything Out There with your host, Steve Stockton.
Hello, friends. The Ballad of Tom Dooley, a song of murder, mystery, and musical legacy. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. These haunting lyrics echo through the annals of American folk music, a testament to the enduring power of the Ballad of Tom Dooley. More than just a catchy tune, this song encapsulates a tragic tale of love, betrayal, and murder based on a real-life event that took place in North Carolina in 1866. The story of Tom Dooley, whose name was rendered in local dialect as Dooley, has been immortalized in song, becoming a staple of folk music and a window into the social and cultural landscape of post-Civil War America. The historical Tom Dooley was a Confederate soldier accused of murdering his lover, Laura Foster. The details surrounding the crime remain shrouded in mystery, with conflicting accounts and lingering questions about Dooley's guilt. What is certain is that Dooley was convicted and hanged for the crime, and his story quickly became the stuff of local legend. The song itself emerged shortly after Dooley's execution, likely penned by a local poet named Thomas C. Land. Land's lyrics, set traditional folk melody, captured the essence of the tragic tale, focusing on themes of love, jealousy, and the inevitability of fate. The song's simple structure and evocative language ensured its easy transmission and memorization, contributing to its rapid spread throughout the Appalachian region. Tom Dooley existed in various forms in oral tradition for decades, passed down through generations of singers and musicians. Each rendition carried its own unique variations, reflecting the regional dialects and musical styles of the performers. This fluidity is a hallmark of folk music, where songs evolve organically over time, shaped by the communities that keep them alive. The song's popularity reached new heights in 1958 when the Kingston Trio, a popular folk group of the era, recorded their version of Tom Dooley. The Kingston Trio's rendition, with its close harmonies and catchy arrangement, became a massive hit, reaching #1 on the Billboard charts and introducing the song to a wider audience. The Kingston Trio's success sparked a renewed interest in folk music, contributing to the folk revival of the late 1950s and early 1960s. The Kingston Trio's version, while commercially successful, also sparked controversy. Some critics argued that their polished and commercialized rendition stripped the song of its raw authenticity, distancing it from its folk roots. Others defended the trio's interpretation, praising their musical skill and their role in popularizing a traditional folk song. Regardless of the criticism, the Kingston Trio's recording cemented Tom Dooley as a cornerstone of American folk music. The song has been covered by countless artists across various genres, from Johnny Cash to Neil Young, each offering their unique interpretation of this tragic tale. The song's enduring appeal lies in its ability to connect with listeners on an emotional level, tapping into universal themes of love, loss, and the consequences of our actions. Beyond its musical legacy, Tom Dooley also offers valuable insights into the social and cultural context of its time. The song reflects the values and beliefs of a rural post-Civil War society where honor, loyalty, and revenge played a significant role in interpersonal relationships. The song also highlights the power of storytelling and oral tradition in shaping collective memory and preserving cultural heritage. The Ballad of Tom Dooley continues to resonate with audiences today, serving as a reminder of the enduring power of folk music to tell stories, convey emotions, and connect us to the past. Whether sung around a campfire or performed on a concert stage, the haunting melody and tragic lyrics of Tom Dooley continues to captivate and intrigue, ensuring that this piece of American folk history will live on for generations to come. In addition to all the above, there's some further points to consider. The role of women in the song. The character of Laura Foster is somewhat ambiguous in the song. Some interpretations portray her as an innocent victim, while others suggest she may have played a more active role in the events leading to her death. This ambiguity reflects the complex societal views of women in the 19th century. And there's the legal aspects of the case. Tom Dooley's trial was a significant event in North Carolina history, raising questions about due process and the fairness of the legal system. The song touches on these themes, hinting at the possibility that Dooley may have been wrongly convicted. And, last but not least, the song's impact on tourism. The town of Wilkesboro, North Carolina, where the events took place, has capitalized on the legend of Tom Dooley, attracting tourists interested in the history and folklore surrounding the song. The town hosts an annual Tom Dooley Festival, celebrating the music and heritage of the region. So, the Ballad of Tom Dooley is a multifaceted cultural artifact that continues to fascinate and inspire. Its enduring legacy speaks to the power of music to tell stories, preserve history, and connect us to the human experience.
Down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Better on the mountain where you took her alive. Better on the mountain, stabbed away all night. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down. Hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down. Come this time tomorrow, reckon where you'll be, down in some lonesome valley, hanging from a white oak tree. So hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down. Hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down your head, hang down. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Better on the mountain. She swore she'd be your wife. Better on the mountain. You stabbed away your knife. Oh, hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die.
Echo Sessions is made possible by Prestige Subaru.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Everything out there. I'm Steve Stockton. You're listening to the Ground Zero Radio Network. Clyde Lewis. My guest this evening, he's been with me before, but brought him back. He's got some new stuff going on from the Heritage Hunters Society. Michael Chiana. Michael, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Steve, how you doing? Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, I'm thankful that you're here with us. Did you get any of that bad weather down south?
We were very lucky here in Raleigh, but my place up in the mountains, the Mountain City, got really hit bad, and I haven't even been able to get up there to see the damage. My neighbors took some pictures for me, but a lot of the roads are out, and so I do need to get up there the next week or so. I got some trees on my house, and of course one of my barns. But I think I'm doing okay compared to everybody else.
Yeah, good deal. I saw some pictures from Damascus, Virginia, which is just down the road from Mountain City.
Sure. Yeah.
And I used to, when I'd hike the AT, sometimes I'd get off there. There was a little store I liked to visit. It looked like the whole town was underwater. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Even Mountain City is really hit bad,
It's scary to think about. And
yeah.
I think Florida got hammered again. I haven't kept up with it today, but
my mom is down there and my brother-in-law is down there, so they're okay. So it's just crazy. I'm ready for this weather to go away.
Yeah, I'm ready for at least just regular winter time. If it has to be cold, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
But let's see here. We'll just start a little refresher for the people that didn't catch your last appearance. Tell us about the Heritage Hunters Society.
Well, I started the Heritage Hunter Society in the early 90s when I first moved to North Carolina. I had been visiting different historical locations, and I started experiencing paranormal activity at these locations. And I'd always been a fan of the paranormal growing up as a kid, but really was in the 90s when I really started getting into it heavily. And so I made the Heritage Hunter Society to join history and the hauntings together and travel the world. Really, I've been to other countries and across the United States, and just a great journey that I'm on.
Well, and I got to ask you, have you found any answers to anything?
Oh, well, what's really amazing, and I do so many radio shows and things, and people interviewed me over the years. I really just base my facts on my experiences. You can read every book there is, and you can read different theories and things like that, but I really love to just base it on my personal experiences. And yeah, I have had so many different things happen over the years that's kind of that's my well that I draw from when answering any kind of questions. I've had all kinds of things from people spirits using my voice, or one of my investigators while we're walking quietly, we'll get an EVP with one of our voices, and it's not us because we were quiet. So there's something interesting to have spirit actually use your voice, or use your energy from your voice.
Yeah, and there are mimics out there. I've covered missing person cases where they were found, but while they were lost, they heard loved ones' voices, or maybe even their own voice. There was one guy that heard his own voice calling to him from a cave.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know about you, but if I hear anything calling to me from a cave, I'm going to run the other way.
Oh, I'm going to run towards the cave.
Speaking of it, I think I mentioned this last show we were on. You're not too far from Roan Mountain up there in upper Tennessee.
That's not far from me at all.
There's a lot of spooky stuff up there.
Yeah, I need to go up there, and I've been to the top of the mountain there at the state park, which is beautiful. Elizabethton is a nice area. Even my area, Mountain City, and where I am, my house sits almost on the top of the mountain, Stone Mountain, which is right outside of town. And I have so many things go on up there, and I believe it's a partial vortex or different things versus the elements in the ground, the quartz, the granite, different things. So Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful country, but very, very mysterious.
Yeah, definitely something going on up there. They've got a fireball that they've seen up there, and then not too far from Fiddler's Rock, and that's another legend for another time. And
Yeah.
I had a friend that lived up near Trade,
Oh,
uh,
sure.
and where they have trade days up there. And he said he could take me to a cave on Roan Mountain where there was a spider as big as a house cat. He said, I'm not talking about the whole thing. He said, I'm talking about the body of the spider is as
Wow.
big as a cat. And then you got the legs. And I'm like, no thanks. I don't like spiders
Yeah.
anyway. And I really wouldn't like one that big. So I passed on
Well,
that
and
one.
caves too. There's a lot of bear up there, so um, you know, just the bear alone keep me on my toes.
Yeah, I'd stay away from bear too if I can help it. But it is an interesting part of the country. A lot of folklore, a lot of strange things up there. I covered the Jingling Hole. It's a haunting up there, and there's a Philippi Cemetery in that area there. It's haunted. I've
Oh yeah,
had some strange pictures from up there, and
I got the Brown Mountain Lights up there as
yeah,
well.
yeah, I've seen those several times. They never fail to disappoint. I've seen them maybe half a dozen times.
Oh yeah, it's you have to be a true trooper to go out there. I've been out there 2-3 o'clock in the morning when it's pouring
Yeah.
rain.
Yeah, the rain seems to make it better. I've been up there in the
Yeah.
rain too,
Yeah,
and they put on a bigger show, I think, in the rain. They're at
yeah,
the overlook at Wiseman's Bluff.
yeah,
Now, it's not the one on the side of the road. This is the one that you have to drive this real
yeah. Wiseman
bumpy
through,
road and then walk through the woods. And there's I
by
spent the night
Linville
up there one
Fall.
time.
You have to go past Linville Fall and go up that gravel road.
Yeah, that's scary
Oh
up
my
there.
God, that's I went up there with my van. I have a plumbing van, and that's not 4-wheel drive. I don't know how the van made it up there. And basically, when I came down, I was pretty much skiing
Yep.
with my van because which I'm used to skiing over the years, but not with a van. So
Yeah, those lights are something else. I have no explanation for it. First time I saw them, I could see them like moving around in the trees over there, and I thought, that looks just like somebody with a light or something running in the
Right.
trees. And then the next morning, when I could see over there, that was like sheer cliff faces on the other side of the gorge.
right,
And
right.
I thought, there's no way anybody could have been in there running
Well,
with a
because
light.
I drove down into the Linville, down into the cave areas and the cavern areas because I wanted to see. And I know that down there's some camping areas. So even when I first saw them, I saw some blues and some reds and some greens, and I was like, well, maybe that's some campers that are messing with lasers or something. Who knows? But then, yeah, same thing. I realized that it wasn't in that area. It was an area that you couldn't get to from down below. So, and then I was up there, and within 10 feet of me came one of the lights, and I was at the top of the mountain. And so within 10 feet, that wasn't a laser or anything. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's worth it if you're in the area. Yeah, everybody needs to see it at least once, I think. And I've seen them change colors. I've seen one split into 3 or 4 and then merge back together. It's
Oh yeah,
strange phenomena, whatever it is.
it's amazing. Yeah, it is amazing.
But I asked you if you'd found any answers. I haven't. I've got more questions than I started with, but that's the journey to me, is just on to the next set of questions.
Well, I always say that the more you experience, the more questions you have over the years.
Yeah. And if we had all the answers, Michael, it wouldn't be half as much fun. It's been a great journey. I love it.
Yeah, and it's facets. There's so many facets of this. It's not one thing. It's there's and if you're really passionate, you really put a lot of work into it over the years, you'll have these experiences that just blow your mind, and it's not something you've seen on TV or this or that. There's things that
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I can read every book, I can watch all these documentaries and shows and stuff, but until I go and experience it in person, just kind of bask in the ambiance, if you will, it's
Right.
just not the same. Even if I don't have an experience, I just like being there and saying that this is where that happened. I've been to
Right.
the Mothman areas and
Oh yeah.
the Hopkinsville, Kentucky Goblin, and some of that stuff. Didn't see a thing, but just knowing this is where it happened. That's
Well, you just get
more
the
of a
vibe.
legend tripper.
Yeah, and you pick up the vibes, and if you've known the story well enough, that's the same thing I've experienced with this new episode with Tom Dooley. I actually went to the location where the girl was murdered, and was right at the creek, dead spot, right at the creek where she was murdered. So that's fascinating. as a researcher to read about it all these years, but then to actually go to the location.
To go there. Yeah, and I've heard that song since I was a kid. The one by the Kingston Trio. I can't think
Right.
that came out in 58 or 59 or something like that.
59. Yeah.
But my wife and I watched that during dinner, and that's just fascinating. I knew basically the story, I'd heard it all my life and stuff, but I didn't know a lot of the details in history and stuff that you dug into. And
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really was looking forward to sharing it with you.
Yeah, we loved it. Like I said, we watched it during dinner. And my wife had a couple of questions she wanted me to ask, and I'll get to those later. But for those that aren't familiar, maybe other than just the song, or maybe they never even heard the song, you don't hear a lot of folk songs anymore. Tell us about the legend of Tom Dooley.
Well, the legend of the original song, Mr. Weaver, I think, had written the song many, many years ago, way before the Kingston Trio, and up in the Appalachian Mountains, curtailing and telling about the actual story of Tom Dooley. Tom was a young man in his prime, in his early 20s, up in the Wilkesboro, North Carolina mountains area. And, these were very small, little tiny communities or neighbors that all lived very close together out in the boonies. And he got involved with a girl, foster family, Ann Foster, who he grew up with when he was 11, 12, 13. And, they kind of fell in teenager love and things like that. And so he was always around her. But there were also two other cousins that came into the area, and Laura Foster had lived in the area, and that was the other cousin. So over time, Tom was known as a real ladies' man, even a young 22-year-old boy. And so he was involved with a lot of women. But he was single, and so he was sowing his oats. But eventually, one of the cousins that he was involved with went missing. And when they eventually found her, she was murdered, and she was buried in a shallow grave. And then from that, we wanted to find out who actually did it. And everybody assumed that Tom did it. And so that's part of the mystery of this. And it was actually coined the first lovers murder mystery triangle in North Carolina history. And this story did go nationwide. It got into the New York Times, and it traveled across the entire United States with these court cases and different things, because it was a crime of passion. And so that's kind of the gist of it. But there's so much to this story that to research.
Yeah, and I was noticing there's some books and things on it. Let's see, I had a list here. The True Story of Tom Dooley, from the Western North Carolina Mystery to Folk Legend. Another one, this one sounds good. The Ballad of Tom Dooley, a ballad novel, which offers a fictionalized retelling of the story. And then there's just something called Dooley that chronicles the life and times of Thomas C. Dula, which is, I guess, the correct way to pronounce the name.
Yeah.
And then there was a 1959 film, which I'd never heard of, The Legend of Tom Dooley, Western drama, loosely based on the story. And I've heard a lot of good things about that. I've got to hunt up a copy of it now.
Yeah, it actually had Michael Landon as the character of Tom Dooley.
Yeah.
That was one of his early roles before.
I got to watch that. I loved him as a teenage werewolf. And then we watch Little House on the Prairie. We watch a lot of rerun TV. The older stuff is so much better than what's on there today. For the most part.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah.
And of course, Bonanza. I was always a big Bonanza fan.
Oh, yeah.
And what was the other one? He was on Highway to Heaven. I don't remember that one much. Victor French.
But the first book that you mentioned, The True Story of Tom Dooley, what's really interesting is he was actually related to both families. And he was a retired PhD researcher. And when he retired, he wanted to find out what the real answers were to the legend of Tom Dooley and the murder of Laura Foster. And so he did what he had done for years, and he did all the research, and he went through all the court records. And so that book he put out really is what I used as a guide it's John Ferguson, and it's great information. If you want to really know all the true details, that's the book to read.
Good deal. I'll put links to that in the show notes. And just digging into the song here, it's been called kind of one of those Appalachian sweetheart murder ballads.
Yeah.
And there's some discrepancy as to who wrote it. A local poet named Thomas Land wrote a song about the tragedy titled Tom Dooley. And then folklorist Alex Lomax describes Frank Prophet as the original source for the song, which is misleading in that he probably didn't write it. They think it was his granddaughter, possibly. So there's a lot of mysteries within these mysteries. I love it.
He was one of the first ones. Frank Prophet was one of the first ones to actually, I think, record it. Back then they would just, people would, reporters and folks would go up to the mountains with a recorder and interview these people and record them. And he was known as the first to actually put it out. And then Doc Watson and Merle, they had put it out as well.
I saw Doc in Mountain City years ago, back in the 90s, I guess, there at the Johnson County High School gym.
Oh, really? Wow. And then he did the Merle Fest for years with him and his brother Merle. And he was from the Wilkesboro area. So who better to do that song than him?
Yeah, that was perfect. And I got to ask you about that jail. Just when we were watching the footage there in the jail, that is just one creepy place. I was getting the willies just looking at it.
Yes, it's a very fascinating place, and I'm very fortunate to have a good friend who's the local historian, Ray, and he's the one that, because it is a museum, and so they don't really open it up to people investigating it. Every once in a while, they'll let a team go in that's a reputable team, but it's really not open to the public, like these other, what I call paranormal tourist spots. You can go and take a ghost tour, you could take the history tour, but we had a very great opportunity to go several times to investigate there. So it was great.
Yeah, and I like the idea of a jail as like a paranormal tourist thing. I know Miranda Young has a big time over to the Scott County, Tennessee jail, the historic jail there, and she's got a museum in there. And there's another one I was thinking of. It just slipped my mind.
Brushy Mountain was a huge.
Yeah, they turned that. Of course, Alcatraz. I did that tour there. I didn't do the haunted tour, the night tour.
Right.
And there's
Brushy
one in
because,
San Diego. There's in Old Town San Diego. There's the old jail there where they have a lot of captures and things.
Yes, you've been around, Steve.
Yeah.
But Brushy is fascinating.
I moved coast to coast a few times.
Yes, sir.
Went from Tennessee to Florida to Las Vegas.
Brushy Mountain Prison was really great because I remember when they had first closed, and we were excited to try and see if we could eventually get in there. And we heard that they had opened it up to paranormal teams. Miranda Young and Tiffany White, who's a very good friend of mine, great investigators. Their team actually was the first team to be allowed to run all the paranormal tours there and just to oversee it, to be there at night when there were other teams there. And I think we were the fourth or fifth team to get in there when it first opened. And it was great because it was under construction. There was no power whatsoever in the prison itself. And so which was great because then we didn't have to worry about any kind of false readings or things like that. It was, pitch dark. And we did capture a lot of things the night that we were there. We had it for about 12 hours. And talk about a very violent place. Just amazing. James Earl Ray and everybody being there, and many different things that have happened there over the years.
Yeah, I believe one time when you and I were on Cisco's show, you played some EVPs from Brushy that were just chilling stuff. And I've always said this since I heard them, but you, out of everybody, have got some of the most amazing EVPs that I have ever heard.
Well, thank you so much. Coming from you, that's a huge compliment. But I work very hard at audio. I love to try and capture anything I can, but audio is my thing, and I really I apply myself differently than a lot of other people. So,
Yeah,
and
and
I don't know.
I think I may be out of turn here, but I think it's just you, Michael. I think you could take a kid's recorder and you could take a Play School My First tape deck in there, and you capture those EVPs. I don't think it's the equipment. I think it's you
Well,
that
think you're
drive
right
those
because
spirits.
over the years when I've worked with a lot of people, I mean, I'll work with many people, and I was always the one getting all the EVPs, and people weren't getting anything, and their recorders would be not far from mine, and I could never understand why they weren't getting anything. So, but I don't question it because I feel if I do question it, then it may hurt it. So I just keep the passion rolling, and keep the equipment rolling.
And that's what it is. It's the passion combined with the intent.
Yeah.
And I think you have the purest of intents going in there, and the spirits are open to that.
Yes, sir. You got that right. You know from yourself as well.
Yeah, I've never been one of these that would go in and provoke and try to do that sort of thing. That kind of turns me off. I
No.
like to go in there and talk to whatever's there sometimes, or just observe and witness. But you know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that
Oh
go
yeah.
in and
Yeah. I've worked at some of the more public events with some people yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs, and especially on the battleship North Carolina, we did a big event with about 200 people, and I won't say any groups because I actually do like the guys that are investigators, but their voices were like cannons, and especially in a tin can. Um, and I just thought it was interesting that I have never provoked, and uh, being in the service business for over almost 40 years, I just know how to deal with people and to go into people's homes and have respect and things like that. So I do that with the paranormal as well. And when I go into a location, I just set everything up, and I really stay quiet for a while and introduce myself, and that way I've captured a lot of recordings of spirits saying my name um, back to me. So, because if I introduce them, that way they do know my name, um, and I've gotten a lot of things that way as well.
I think that's a good way to be. In life and in dealing with things in the afterlife, is to be polite, be respectful,
Yes, sir.
not try to go in and stir things up. And Cisco is just the opposite. She tries to go in and quiet things down. She cross them over if she gets a chance. She says so.
Yeah, she's working against us.
Yeah, yeah. If you crossed everybody over, there wouldn't be any haunted locations left.
Well, me personally, I don't believe that you can. I don't believe that you can cross anything over. Um, I always say, if I were to die tomorrow and I was in the room with you and you were telling me, hey, you got to leave, you got to go to the light, I wouldn't go. No, I'm
Yeah,
going to stay here. This is my house.
I understand it, and I agree with you there. I think it's they're there by choice, or they have unfinished business, or there's something going on. There's some reason that they stick around.
Yeah, and I do believe that there are the spirits that are very religious and they do want to be crossed over, or they want to go to wherever, to the light or to heaven or wherever. Um, and so that's fine too, because there is no right answer.
Yeah, and that's the thing about what I enjoy, the way I look at the paranormal, and you as well. There are no right or wrong answers, and yeah,
Right.
there's things we disagree with, like the provoking and stuff like that. But there are no rules. There is no real rule book that says you have to do it this way or that way or the other way.
Right.
I'm just kind of
I look
making
at
up as we go along.
well, I look at it as a craft, like anything, like even in my trade that I've perfected over the years for 40 years. Um, when people always ask me about the paranormal, I always tell people, or the younger people, learn your craft. Get involved with older people that have done it for a long time. Read books, watch documentaries. Learn your craft, no matter what you do in this world. If you're a musician, be a really good musician. If you're an actor or a singer or a paranormal investigator, um, be the best you can be. Learn
Yeah,
your craft.
I agree. That's a good, having that good work ethic.
Yeah,
And I had an uncle that was like that. He said, I don't care if you're a janitor, be the best janitor they've got.
it's true.
So you get this coming up on Amazon Prime Video. What's the release date? Have you got a release date back yet?
Well, I actually just submitted it today. I finally got everything done, and the hardest part is submitting it because you have to have the right thumbnail photos. You have to go through their whole dashboard and get approved on each before you can move forward. You have to get it one page done and then make sure that everything's right, and then they approve it, or they just say nope, this is an error. So I posted it today to them, and they asked me for a date, which I gave them in like 2 days, the 12th, and so we'll see what happens. But usually within a week or so, it should be ready to go, and it's all set. And
Looking forward to
very
watching
excited.
it on there.
So,
And the process sounds kind of like the KDP, the desktop publishing that they do. Two of my books were I self-published them before I went with the traditional publisher, and it
Right.
was like that. There was just so much and so many things, and then when you were formatting it for the paperback, oh my gosh, I was ready to pull my hair out. And
oh yeah,
I was thankful to go with the traditional publisher because the next books they handled all that.
oh yeah. Well, I've been working on. I started a book before I ever started the series, um, several years ago, and it's called Chasing the Darkness: The Heritage Hunters um, Ghostly Encounters. And so when I first started, I started writing a few chapters, and then I got talking, and that's when I had seen Prime out, and I said, I think I have so much evidence and so many EVPs and things that would be 10 times better to share in a show than to start with a book. So I shelved the book for a while, and then I started the show. But once I get done with these next 2 episodes that I'm doing, I'll have 4 out then. I'm going to complete the book. And so then you can help me and direct me on what's the best way to go as far as getting it out there. But and these
absolutely.
are private things that have happened to me while I'm actually working my daytime job in historical homes. So the show is more about public places that you can actually go to. Journey through the past is every place that I do, you can actually go visit. You can go investigate there. You can go stay there, eat there, drink wine. And then the book is more private cases.
Yeah, and I like those that are like a guidebook like that. Remember back in 1978, I got a hold of a book by Jim Brandon called Weird America. And it was like that for the more adventurous. It was, it'd tell you about the places and how to get there and things.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I did that with my book, the National Park Mysteries and Disappearances book, where
Right.
I put in the address of the places, the GPS coordinates, like it'll go here and this is where it is. And I like that kind of a dark tourism there. That's a popular thing.
Travel guide, yeah.
And the book that I'm working on right now, I'm not going to give away the title yet. It's like that too, but it's
Oh, that's great.
very it's going to be a bear. I think it's going to be at least 3 volumes.
Oh
So
wow.
I started writing and just kept going and going and going, and I'm up to almost 100,000 words. So
Oh my goodness. Wow.
it's
That's great.
definitely going to be 2 or 3 volumes.
Oh, can't wait to see it and read it.
But I kind of got sidelined by the arrival of my son, so a lot of stuff went on the back burner for a while. But it'll get there.
Well, I mean, look how fast everything went, and you're waiting on September and waiting, boom. It's here.
Yeah, the stinker showed up 4 days early too. We went in. That was supposed to be the last regular OB appointment before thought he was going to be born, and they're like,
Oh, wow.
guess what?
He was ready.
And so today that we're recording this, it was 5 days today at 4:31, or sorry, 5 weeks today
Yeah.
at 4:31 p.m.
Wow.
But wouldn't trade the experience for anything. I was there as present for the birth. I got to get the cord.
No,
It just is a magical moment.
I can totally relate with both my kids. I was there, and yeah, it's just there's nothing like it. It really, having children, having a family is an amazing thing.
Yeah, good thing I've been an insomniac because I don't get a lot of sleep.
Well, now you're really not going to get a lot of sleep.
Yeah, it weighs on me heavy. I turned 60 last year, so it's I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm
We're in the
getting
same
to the
boat.
point where I need an afternoon nap. Me and the baby are going to go take a nap.
Hey,
One of those
That's
things.
a good thing. Believe it or not, when I'm going to do an investigation, I'll actually take a little, hour nap in the afternoon before I head out for the night because, just I'm 60 as well, and I just it does help.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
back when I was
pace
in my
yourself.
30s, I could stay awake a couple of days, if I had
Oh
to.
my
But
God, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what happened to me now.
It's called life. Life caught
Yeah,
up with you.
just age and experience.
Yes,
But like I said, it's been an interesting journey, and I've had a good time, and
yes.
all roads have led me to here, and I appreciate every moment.
And how are you liking New England?
I love it. I've always
Yeah,
been drawn here, even as a child. I was probably the only kid in my elementary school that had a subscription to Yankee magazine. And it's amazing. I still haven't been everywhere. I haven't been up to Maine yet, and I haven't been
right.
to Vermont.
Well, we need to get you up to because I haven't been there myself. Growing up in New Hampshire, I didn't travel a lot because we had a lake house in Rindge, New Hampshire, and so when we would go up there, we pretty much would stay in the area. We had a lake and it was beautiful, and so I never traveled the state a lot. So I want to go up to Mount Washington, to the Mount Washington Inn, and I want to stay there. I want to investigate. I call that the Little Stanley Hotel.
Yeah, yeah. I want to get. There's so many places I want to go to. I really enjoyed Rhode Island and Connecticut,
Oh yeah,
and what
yeah.
little bit I saw in New Hampshire. But I did a video on my Tales Untold channel about the White Mountains,
Oh yeah.
and there's all kinds of legends and folklore up there too.
Oh sure is. Oh yeah, it's tons up there. New England is amazing, amazing place to visit as well.
But I could see myself living in Maine someday. And that's something we're thinking. Where I'm living now, that's thickly settled, as the signs say around here, close to Boston.
Right.
But I'm more of a country boy. I'd be more at
Yeah.
home in the woods of Maine, I think.
Oh yeah. Even where I grew up there was Rindge and Jaffrey. Peterborough is nice because it's very small little. Peterborough is known for the largest main street in the United States, and that's where they have Keene College, and it's such a great town. It's a great town, but it's very quiet and quaint at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I'd like. Something like that, and then live on the rural outskirts of it, where I could go
Yeah.
into town and get what I needed. But
Oh yeah.
it's just too crowded here for me where we're at.
Yeah. And what area? Where are you located?
I'm in Worcester, just not
With
too far
right,
outside of Boston.
right,
And my
right,
wife's not from here. We just ended up here. She's
right.
from a little town called Leicester, which
Lester.
is just real small town, Massachusetts. But
Right.
I was looking to get back to something like that and get out of the city. This is the
Yeah.
second most populous city in all of New England, and
Oh wow. That's really good.
it weighs on you.
Yeah. Well, do your time there, and then when you're ready to, journey on, you will.
Yeah, I grew up, watching Dark Shadows and things like that. That's
Oh
coastal Maine. I think I would love coastal Maine. I'd love to be able to see the waves crashing against
yeah.
the cliffs and things like that.
Collinwood. That's my favorite show.
Yeah.
I used to get home from school, elementary school, and
Yep. Exactly.
3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had no idea it was a soap opera. You
No,
know,
didn't care. That didn't occur to me. All I knew they had
Oh,
vampires and werewolves and ghosts, and like, oh yeah,
I
I'm all
watch it
about
now,
that.
and I'm still amazed. I'm like, wow, it was so dark. It really was great. It's a great
Yeah,
show.
for its time, it was just groundbreaking. I mean, Dan Curtis
Yeah.
did an amazing, amazing job on that.
Oh yeah, that and the Night Stalker. That was
Yeah,
two of my
Kolchak.
favorites.
That
Yeah.
was based on John Keel, the
Oh, was
actual
it?
author and paranormal
That was my
investigator.
favorite show because from week to week, I mean, and those shows were heavy. They were pretty heavy. In the very beginning of the first ones, especially with the vampire and all the different stories.
Yeah,
I loved it.
and
I think
I
that's
read
kind of where I got
somewhere.
my investigating skills from watching that, and
Yeah,
I am pretty much like a lone person. I mean, other than working with some close friends, I still love to investigate solo as well.
yeah, and that's the way Carl Kolchak was. He had his
Yeah,
little camera and his tape recorder, and he
recorder,
just went in and got the what he could find, and then
right?
got ridiculed for it. But
Yeah,
it was a great show. And I read somewhere that they stopped doing that because they thought they'd done everything that could be done, because they did have a nice variety of
Oh yeah,
cryptids and creatures from folklore and things. But
yeah. It was.
I'd like to have seen that run for years, like the X Files or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of my favorites. One of my favorite shows.
So, in these places that you've investigated, and this may be like asking you to pick a favorite child, but what's your favorite place that you've been to?
Well, believe it or not, I love North Carolina. There's so many places here. But traveling to Europe and going to the UK, I love London. London is, I mean, you just walk the streets at night. Um, I love the catacombs in Paris. It's some of my favorite. I'd have to say that probably London. It's definitely. And everybody there was very friendly. And when I would talk to them about the paranormal, they were very open to it. And not like here in the States, sometimes you deal with some people that are, look at you like you're crazy and this and that. They were very open to it.
Yeah, they do seem to be more open to it, and there's just so much history there going back so
Oh
many
yeah,
hundreds of years. It's
like I could have moved into the tower. I was in the Tower of London twice, and I was like, man, can I just like hide here and just live in because I mean, and to see where it went from, the 1300s and back, it showed the elevation of when they would first build the first castle and then they tore it down. And then in the 1300s, they built another one. And it's just amazing that you could just feel it. And I love the Tower of London. It's great.
Yeah, there's so much there in all those countries over there, Scotland and Wales, and
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I was supposed to go to Scotland this year, and we were going to go for my 60th, but it just wasn't in the cards financially. So we went to New Orleans, and we had a great time down there. But next year, I'm hoping to go to Scotland.
yeah, okay. I wish you get to make that trip. That'd be amazing. But what did you think of the Big Easy? I mean, there's a lot of spooky stuff down there too. Now I have been to New Orleans, and a lot of haunted
I
places
liked
down
it,
there.
but it was very hard to find any locations on my own, and a lot of the stuff was just ghost tours, and I'm not a big fan of ghost tours. And I did the research, and I did a lot of. I walked the whole French Quarter. Probably spent 3-4 hours walking all the streets. I just took a lot of photos and things, but I really didn't come across. And I Googled everything that I could, and it said, where this mansion was and that. But it was like no access to any of these places, and so I really couldn't do what I normally do. Like I tried to go to the cemetery, and when I got over there was a guy out front, and I'm like, so I was heading in with my camera, and he's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to the cemetery." He goes, "Oh no, you can't come in the cemetery." I'm like, "Why is that?" He goes, "Well, you have to take a tour. We only let you in the cemetery if you're on the tours." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me, right?" So I wasn't impressed with that too much. Everything was a tour, and I'm one that likes to just go wander and do my thing.
Always something.
Yeah, and I really could not find any good location.
Yeah. I don't care much for the tours either. Maybe one time I'll go take a tour, and then if I can, I'll go back by myself and check it out.
Yeah, but everything there is kind of locked up and buttoned, so you can't just go wander into any place. And you can understand why, because with all the homeless people there and things like that, you can't leave anything unlocked or open to the public. So it wasn't my favorite place, but we had a great time. We went for Jazz Fest, and that was huge. 460,000 people
Wow.
at that festival, which we got to see Neil Young, the Rolling Stones, Foo Fighters. So
It's
many.
like a stellar lineup there.
Yeah, but it was just way too many people. And we had a great time, but me and my wife both said, I think we're done with festivals. We're too old. Can't be around them.
I haven't been to one in a long time, and I wouldn't care for it now. I'll stay home watching on TV.
Yes. So yeah,
No.
we're done with that. So next time we would like to go back, and next time I'll focus on really researching a lot of places before I go.
Good deal. Now, I ask you about your favorite location. What would
Yeah.
be your least favorite location? Is there some place that just spooked you out too much and really got under your skin, got to you, and like, I'm done here and I don't want to go back?
Well, it's funny because I have never had anything spook me or make me feel uncomfortable. The thing that makes me feel bad is when I go to a location and there's nothing there, and it's usually a place that's hyped up to be such an amazing place that everybody goes to, and then I go and I experience absolutely nothing. And I'd have to say, I went to St. Albans Sanatorium in Virginia, and I brought a whole team of my public group that I trained, and we went, and it was creepy as hell. I mean, the place looked creepy. It wasn't renovated. It was in bad shape. But as far like, I didn't get any evidence the entire night, and that's for me. Like you said, I'm one that gets a lot of things. I didn't capture any recording. I think I got one recording, and uh, the team I was with that I brought in was a public team, and they weren't seasoned investigators. And when they got there, they got spooked. They were just spooked out by the whole place, and they were running around in the dark. And I couldn't believe I had trained them to be such good investigators. And when they got there, they acted like a bunch of fools, and it really was pissing me off because it was hurting. It was hurting the investigation. And so once we were finally done, and I had enough, it was about 4 o'clock. Everybody left, and I was around the back of the building, and I took one or two shots, and I saw this fireball coming out of a window, and I actually captured it where it's half in the window and half coming out, and so I captured that, and I saw that with my eyes. And then I also, while I was standing there, I saw a blue mist go by me, and I captured that on photo. So I was very happy to capture that because, other than that, I had no experiences other than the place being really creepy. But it just looked creepy. We had no activity that would make us feel scared. So that was my least favorite of all the places I've been to anywhere was St. Albans. And I know there's a lot of people that love to go there and they think it's amazing. Well, everybody has different experiences, I guess.
Yeah. What about your bucket list? Where's other than some of the places you've already mentioned, like Scotland, things? Where's some place that you've always wanted to go that you haven't been yet?
Well, I want to go to Edinburgh. I want to go to where they have the city underneath the streets, where you actually go down into the lower areas that used to be a lot of the homeless and people. They do tours down there. That's one place I would like to go. Believe it or not, I would like to go to Auschwitz. I know it's very sad, it's very draining and things like that, but I would like to go there as well. It's always been a place that I would want to visit.
Yeah, part of me would like to go there, but then a part of me's like, I don't know, what kind of energy I would pick up there. There's certain places, hospitals, nursing homes, things like that.
Yep.
They get to me anyway. I mean, from the living, so I can't imagine what might be there from.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of spirits still there, and I always look at myself as being a man that's in service, and I've been in the service industry for years. Even when I go into a haunted location, I want to see if I can connect with them to get their message out. And that's one of my main questions that I always ask is, do you have a message that I can give your family? And I've always gotten a lot of good responses with that. And I have family that I think was through Auschwitz and different concentration camps. So I think with that, I want to go back to that as well to visit.
And I know that when I've visited battlefields and things in the past, there's some of them that they have that real heavy art. And you just think about, like especially Gettysburg and places like that, just the amount of bloodshed there.
Yeah.
And I doubt any of those people there were ready to die. And it just, there's a lot of Chickamauga in Georgia. Have you ever been down there?
No, I haven't. I've been to Georgia, but I haven't been down there to the
that battlefield. There's some strange energy there.
Yeah. And my second to last episode will be Gettysburg, and I've captured so many things there: photos, audio. I'm sharing some of my friends' captures that they've caught over the years there. And Gettysburg is an amazing place. I mean, even with all the tragedy, it's it's definitely sacred sacred ground, and when you go there, you can feel it.
Yeah, for sure. So the episode with Tom Dooley is the next one coming up. What's beyond that, or do you want to say?
That, up in Mountain City, there was an old school that's about 5 minutes from my home, and it was just a small brick school from the 1940s. And I was going up to my house one day from coming from Raleigh, and I saw a big sign saying there was a winery. I'm saying, wow, when was there a winery next to near my house? So I drove over there, and I saw the old school, and I went in, and the only one that was there was the owner, really nice lady, Linda, and we got to talking, and I tried her different wines, which were amazing, but it was still an old school. It was 5 rooms. And what they did is they converted it and took all the classrooms and made them into dining rooms. And so they made an event place where you could actually go, and they had wine events, and they had music, and they had a gourmet kitchen, and they would do all kinds of events and weddings. And so we got to talking, and then I said to her, I said, before I left, I said, my God, this building is so quiet. And she goes, do you mean paranormal? I'm going, and I wasn't saying anything about ghosts. And she said, and so she said that. I said, well, it's funny you say that, because I said, I do that. That's something I do. It's part of my business. And when we got to talking about that, next thing out of her mouth was, would you like to come and investigate? I'm like,
Wow.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't you love it when it just falls in your lap like that?
Yeah, I mean, and this was a dream of mine to find an old school, not like a big high school or anything, out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the country, over there in Butler. And so
I think I've been to that school. I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's called the Dry Run School, and they had purchased it. It was 10,000 square feet. They had retired from Florida, and they had an import-export business, and they had a lot of merchandise still left over. And so they basically just bought the old school to store all their merchandise, and then sell it online and different things. And so after they had sold a lot of the merchandise, the husband got into winemaking and learning how to make it. And from that, they created this whole thing where they made this winery. And they had vineyards. They started planting the vineyards at their home, which was not far from there. And they were already retired, and they created this huge business that once it got rolling, they were like, what the hell did we do? We're supposed to be retired, and now this thing has taken off. And I think they were doing like 9 or 15 weddings a year, which that was a lot of work for these people that are retired. But they just made such a great environment, and they made it where so many people could like join their wine club and come help them and pick the grapes all year and different things. So we got to talk, and she let me in to investigate. This was years ago, and I've only been the only one to ever investigate there. And I couldn't believe what I captured. When I first went there, we captured, 20 or 30 EVPs, some photos, different things. And it just blew my mind because, nobody had died there. Nobody, it was a school. And so it's so interesting that we captured so many different things. It's almost like the spirits of that area, like, hey, there's a guy over there at the school, and he can hear us. So come on over here. And so I think I must have investigated 4 or 5 times there, and we've captured so many things that I said I had to put an episode together for this to share it.
No, looking forward to that one too. Now, interest is peaked on that one.
In my next one, and then I'm getting started on that one next week. Like I said, I filmed this 3 and 4 years ago already, and I have all the evidence. So it just, most of my stuff is done over the years. I just don't go do something and then put it right out. Me, I take my time, and it's, believe me, it's a process that's very hard to keep up with.
I wanted to ask you about that. What is your creative process? What editing software and things like that do you use? I have an interest in that side of it too.
Oh yeah, I just use a real simple software. It's called Magic. And when I was researching to put this show together, I tried every different thing out there just to sample it to see, Da Vinci and all these other ones, and there was so much to them,
Yeah,
and
I'm
so
that
many
way with Da
effects.
Vinci and some of the Adobe stuff. I
Yeah,
have
and
used
Vinci is,
Magix. It used to be a Sony product, I think, and
yes, yes,
I
and
had
so
a
I went with it
copy of
only
it back
because
then.
it was very affordable. It was only $60 for the year, and it was very simple. It had a lot of features, but it didn't have crazy things that were too much for me. And so I stuck with that, and it's been working all this time. Now my son is an editor, and he's a video guy, and he shoots rock bands, and he travels all over, and he's into all the different editing software. So anytime I have a problem, I say, "Hey, come on out to the office." He was out here today helping me with something.
Yeah,
But he knows, and it's nice to have somebody in your family that really can help you with that stuff. But he's like, I could teach you so much. I said, yeah, but I'm simple. I like to keep it simple. So,
yeah, that's what I liked about Magix. It was just drag and drop. You just put stuff in there,
yeah,
had the titling and stuff built in.
yeah, it has the
I've
templates.
gotten a little bit better. I use like Adobe After Effects and some stuff like that.
Right,
I've
right.
gotten fairly
That has a
proficient,
lot of
but you can go and get a college degree in that stuff. I mean, that's
oh
how
yeah,
the
yeah.
book for some of that stuff is 3 inches thick.
Well,
Um,
and that's why it took me a long time with the first episode, the Country Squire, because I had to learn how to, I was making movies. Even I was doing movies in high school with 8 millimeter film, in film classes. And then over the years, I did YouTube. I probably have about 15 YouTube videos that are still out there. I need to pull them down and you just take them away because but that's where I got a lot of my good quality of editing and things over the years. And then once I got a DSLR camera, that changed a lot because there's so much that you have to learn when filming. There's so many different settings and so much you have to learn about the photography end of it, even using the camera as a video camera. So
yeah,
that took a long time. Buying that, it wasn't cheap, and learning about it and going out trial and error shooting stuff, and then it would come out blurry and you couldn't understand why. And once it's
yeah,
blurry, that's it. You can't fix it. So I'm still learning. And with this, that's why Tom Dooley I think is really a lot of my friends that have watched it they're great, and they're like, this should be on PBS. This really should be part of something like PBS. And I said, well,
yeah.
I really
I agree.
appreciate
I just got a new camera outfit. It's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It's
that. Oh,
kind of
nice.
like the gimbal camera on a drone, but it's handheld
Oh,
and
nice.
rock solid and stuff. And it does some amazing stuff. I haven't got a chance to get out in the field with it yet, but I got plans here in New England for it.
Especially with the gimbal, that's really important because
Yeah.
I don't use any of the gimbals, and I like them. I just haven't had time or the money to get them. And there's so many people that will just use their iPhones.
Yeah. I've known people that have these just amazing YouTube channels. I'm like, what are you recording? Oh, I just do it on my phone. Like, are you
Well,
serious?
you really
I've got like
is
3
incredible.
computers here and all these screens and all this stuff. And like, you did that on your phone?
Yeah. Well, I always say it's not what you have; it's what you do with it.
Yeah. And sometimes though, just that lack of equipment,
Yeah.
it makes you get really creative. And I can
yeah.
appreciate that. Just
Oh,
do the best you can with what you
I
have.
I have some. Well, all the music that's in my show was created. Most of it was written for the show. I have some amazing, talented artists that are music, and they shoot most of their videos with their iPhone, and the quality on an iPhone is really incredible. So it's just it's really what you do with it. And I always tell people you don't need a lot of equipment, especially with the paranormal. I don't like these shows that are dark and grainy, and they're in the dark, and it's IR, which is gray. Well, I always said if I was going to put a show out, I was going to be doing it in daytime with light and colors. I bump up a lot of my colors in the episodes because I want it to look, when you're watching it, I want you to enjoy what you're seeing. And a lot of people don't realize that it's the color that actually helps.
The color. And I've just been getting into that, like the loops, the lookup tables and matching the colors and making it look good across the whole thing. And
Yeah,
It just
it's
gets so involved.
it's
And I'm a
for me,
talker. I'm the narrator. I'm not supposed to be doing all this, but I've had to
well,
do it by necessity.
might as well learn it and do it yourself.
Yeah,
Why rely
because
on anybody
the
else?
times that I have tried to farm stuff out to editors and things like
Yeah,
that, they can never get it to look like I pictured in my head.
exactly.
But a lot
That's
of
what you
times
have to
I
do.
can't get it to look like I pictured in my head either. But
Yeah, but
I have a better idea.
keep trying. And that's what I did because I was doing the same thing where I was trying to get people to help me with this, and they would barely half the time they wouldn't even get back to me. So I was like, I'm not going to pay somebody and then wait on them and then it come out like crap. Um, I had a good friend that was putting out a series, Marty, who was Marty's a good friend of mine and was in my first episode. He was doing a series that was going on Prime. And that's how I learned about Prime originally, was through his show. But he was relying on a guy that was a producer or editor or whatever, and basically was holding them up. He was going through a divorce and things like that. So he didn't care. He didn't give a crap about their project, and so I saw that through him, and I was like, I don't. I'm just going to learn how to do it myself, and whatever way it comes out, I could say I did it, and hey, I can only learn from it and get better. And that's
Yeah.
and I think the second one, this my first episode that I did, that was filmed starting back in 2010. I never had an intention to ever have a series back then, and even the cameras I had back then were very primitive, small Sony cameras. So, and now a lot of that footage was not the greatest footage, but I wanted to document what we had captured and how we started, and so that's why I used it. And, believe me, I got some comments from real rude people out there and saying about this and that. I'm like, well, you don't know the backstory, so I don't care. I'm sharing how we started.
Yeah, I get that. I get a lot of armchair quarterbacks
Yep.
on my YouTube channel. You should do this and you should do that. And
Oh,
I'll go and look at their channel and they've got, 100 subscribers or something. I'm like, well, here's
yeah.
what you should do. You should go get your own channel, do it the way you're telling me to do it, get 300 and something thousand subscribers, then
Right.
come back and talk to me and I'll listen to
Right.
I don't mean to be rude, but there's some hateful people out there.
Oh my God. Yeah, I had some
And
people.
the internet has emboldened people. It's
Yeah.
made people to hide behind their keyboard and they'll lash
Yeah.
out at you over nothing.
Well, and then there's a lot of times that people are jealous, and there's jealousy, and there's this and that, or they're just negative people out there. There's so many of them, and and that, like I said, when I first put my show, the first one out, some of them were probably past people that I had worked with in the past, and come to find out that they were not good people. They were actually pretty evil people, and
Yeah, I've
that
run into
gave
a
it
few of
a
those
thought.
too.
Yeah,
I
and
won't
so
name any
some of them
names,
really
but I've had
did
people try
help.
to sabotage me in things.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I had it when I first put the first one out. I had 5 stars all the way, and then these negative comments were coming in. They were really mean and rude, and I knew it had to be some of these people that I must have known from the past. Which, I don't get. Like my son said, he goes, Dad, don't worry about these stupid comments. Nobody gives two craps about what these people say, and it doesn't affect your show. If people like it, they like it. And if they don't, they
But
don't.
that's the point I've gotten to. I like it. Here it is. If my wife likes it, that's good. And then watch it or don't. There's 12 million other YouTube channels, and I don't
That's
mean
right.
to be so mercenary with it, but it is what it is, and
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can. And,
Well, you're doing what you love,
yeah.
and it's a
And like
passion.
with the music, sometimes I have background music. Some people hate it, some people
Yeah.
love it. So I stopped doing the music. Well, where's the music? We want the music to come back. So I bring the music back. Oh, why'd you do that? We hate the music. And just you can't please everybody, so you got to please yourself. And
Well,
if you're
that's
proud of it and it
right.
gets the point across, conveys the message, then it's good.
Well, that's why like all the music that I picked from both of my episodes so far have been created, and they actually sat down and watched the show and then wrote the music to it. And so
I've
I'm
got
a
some stuff
musician
like
as
that.
well. So, and I've been a musician since I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
So I love music, and I want to incorporate that in all my episodes.
The Lee G over at First Floor Audio is my musical director now. And he did that. We sat down together for I think 13 weeks in a row. He has a show on Tuesdays called Night Rider, where he sits and writes a track from beginning to end. And sometimes I'd give him just a few words, and he'd go and basically take my words and turn them into a track.
Right.
And I really appreciate that. Now, what kind of music do you play?
Well, I love everything from classical music to uh, my favorite music was Stevie Ray Vaughan. I saw him 7 times before he passed away
He was
live.
a talented guitar player.
Oh my God, he was the most amazing. Um, but I love all kinds of music. I'm just not a rap person. It's not my thing, and I don't try and go with. I mean, I grew up in the '70s. I love this. It's probably my favorite music is the '50s, '60s, '70s.
Yeah, same. And then I
Love
got
it.
into a lot of stuff in the 80s, but after the 80s, it kind of went downhill for me.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't my
But
thing.
AM radio in the late 60s and early 70s, that was
Oh,
my jam, man. And
I mean, I
then
still,
FM started coming in my later formative years and
yeah,
got
yeah.
more into the rock and roll and stuff. But Casey Kasem's Top 40, I had to have that every Sunday.
Best music. And look, the man's dead how many years, and he's still out there talking, and he's still sharing the music. And you know what?
Yeah.
People like us, and even the younger, my son knows all these bands from the 50s, 60s, 70s, because I turned them on to that at a young age. And so now it's that next generation just carrying it on. So it's great. But I think you should put music back in anything that you want to do, because do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. And
No, I'm not much of a musician. I'm a plunker. I've got a Martin guitar and a couple of keyboards and stuff, but
you got
I
the right
leave it up
guitar.
to somebody else. Yeah, I've got a Johnny Cash signature Martin, and I love
beautiful.
that thing.
Yeah.
Sent it here. It got here before I did, but
Yeah, actually, the next episode I put out, the one about the school, I'm going to actually put some of my music in it, and some of it's background music and things. I mean, I play keyboards. I have a keyboard that has 300-400 sounds and string sections and things like that. So I'm going to do some of that. I do have another artist that's out of Wisconsin. She's amazing, and she's been on tour. She just got back from Europe, and she has a song about children called Kingdom. And she told me any music I want to use of hers for my episode I could. And yeah, I've met the most generous people in the music field that have all donated all their music, even Laura Reed that did the Tom Dooley version. And that's the most rocky
that is
version.
a haunting version of that. And then, yeah, it really kicks in there toward the end.
Her musical partner, they jammed it, and she sent me all the instrumental parts with no singing, then just all the vocals with no music, and then the final product, so I can use whatever I wanted to. And I weaved that through the show, and she's just amazing. She's originally.
I was going to compliment you on that version of Tom Dooley, especially where it really kicks in there.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah,
very end where the guy goes crazy with the guitar, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best version I've ever heard.
And speaking of music, we're going to go ahead and take a midpoint break here and play a commercial. And then I'm going to play a song by my friend that I was just talking about, Lee G, called Shutters. Let's take a break here. Michael will be back in about 5 minutes, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Attention all Ground Zero fans. Aftermath.media is celebrating our 4-year anniversary with a spectacular deal just for you. For a limited time, you can get an Aftermath Premium Yearly subscription for only $79. That's right, just $79 for a full year of exclusive content, ad-free listening, and premium features. Dive into a world of incredible stories, top-tier journalism, and the best in entertainment. Whether you're a longtime listener or new to Ground Zero, this is the perfect time to join the Aftermath family. Don't miss out on this amazing anniversary special. Visit Aftermath.media today and sign up for your Aftermath Premium Yearly subscription at just $79. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Celebrate with us and elevate your media experience to the next level. Aftermath.media, the ultimate resource for parapolitical and paranormal fans. Visit Aftermath.media and subscribe today. That's Aftermath.media.
someone. Yeah, one thing to hold a grudge over one mistake. Oh, one mistake isn't much to make. It's one mistake. And you're sorry, you're so sorry. But it's just the calm before the storm. Someday the clouds will break so that the sun can shine. Well, ain't it something to be in love with someone? Ain't it shameful when they do the dirty deed? Oh, that's one mistake, a mistake you can't afford to make a big mistake. Now you've blown away the trust. It's just a calm before the storm. Someday the clouds will break so that the sun can shine.
And we're back. That was Lee G. Shutters, and then followed by Calm Before the Storm. Excuse me. You can check him out on YouTube on First Floor Audio. I'm over there with him usually on Saturday nights and sometimes on Thursday and Tuesday as well. But have a good time over there. Those are original tracks, and he is a master musician, my musical director here. And we're back talking with Michael Chiana from the Heritage Hunter Society here on Everything Out There on the Clyde Lewis Ground Zero Radio Network. Okay, Michael, you ready for round two?
Yes, sir. That was great music. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Lee is something else. Self-taught musician, multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, composer. He's the whole ball of wax. I wish I had a tenth of his talent. But I didn't get much musical talent anyway. My brother did. He could play the guitar, piano, banjo.
Oh, really?
Just picked it up, taught it to himself.
Wow.
If I practice every single day, I'm mediocre at best with guitar. But it's a hobby. It's a hobby. But
I love it.
Lee, it's a lifestyle for him.
Oh yeah, no, it's a group, one of the best hobbies to have, and passion. If you can make it in the professional field, that's great. But I love it, and I've been writing
competition out there.
Yeah, and I just enjoy it so much.
So getting back to Tom Dooley, that your new episode that's coming up there on your do you have a channel on Prime, or how does that work? I've got a membership on Prime Video, but I've never put anything up there. It sounds like I'd have to jump through a lot of hoops. But do you have like a web page on there?
Well, they don't really do web pages. I did just make a brand new YouTube channel for Journey Through the Past TV. So that's the name of the channel. So I'm doing a lot of promos on there and smaller interviews. I have so many different things, interviews from people over the years and projects that are small that I don't want to put on Prime. So I'm going to share it with people on the YouTube channel. And then I can also do the promotion for the show.
And I will put a link to that in the show notes, so everybody go check it out.
Great.
Right.
Yeah, Journey Through the Past TV, and that's the YouTube channel for it, and you can find me there. And yeah, they don't really do any kind of page. Just you can either do you can opt to do a series where you have multiple episodes on one, or you can do it one by one, and that's what I've just been doing it one by one.
Yeah.
And I'll eventually I'm trying to finish up. I'm booked to go to Gettysburg in early December to finish up the last footage for the Gettysburg episode. I have years of evidence, but I want to go back and shoot some more B-rolls and things like that. And then try and finish that one towards the beginning of the new year. And then I'll have 4 out. And I think I'm going to take a little break from it. And I may continue with the Journey Through the Past. I may do a different project. So I think I'm going to finish my book at that point, and then from there I'll take a little break. Writing a book will be easy compared to doing the editing and the filming.
I agree. That always came easy for me. I
might get really good at writing the book.
I published my 20th last year and working on number 21.
God
but
bless.
it just I don't know. It just for whatever reason it comes easy for me. That and talking. My dad always said, "Boy, if you could find a way to talk for a living, you'd be all set." Well, here I am.
Found it. And so many people enjoy listening to your vlogs too.
Yeah, I get so many compliments, and I don't hear it. I don't even like the way I sound. I never have. But
well, most people are like that. I mean, Kenny Rogers was that way, and so many famous artists didn't like their voice. Meanwhile, they were the best.
Yeah. Oh well, there's no accounting for taste. But if anybody likes to listen to me, then God bless them.
That's right.
I have people that say they listen to relax, and people that have chronic pain, fibromyalgia, insomnia, PTSD.
Oh, you're like the Art Bell. Art Bell was the same way, and he had that one sound. It was his sound, and I love listening to him too.
Yeah, I was a big Art Bell fan, and that's big shoes to fill. I don't think I could ever get close to what Art Bell does. But
Steve Bell. We'll call you Steve Bell.
There you go. So, my wife and I Nicole watched that episode earlier, and thank you for sending us the preview link there because I know it's not available on Prime yet.
That's right.
She had some questions here, and it probably won't make sense to anybody until they watch it. But she asked, "Why would Ann or Tom want Laura dead?"
Well, Ann was a very jealous person. And so, of course, growing up, she was involved with him all that time. And then when Ann got married to James Milton, I think Tom Tom, after coming back from the Civil War, took right back up with her. He was living in her home. He was basically sleeping in her bed. There's so many different stories to this. And people think that, he was just doing that blatantly and the husband was right there. I still think that he was sneaking around behind James Milton's back. And I think that when he got involved with Laura, as you know by watching the show, you know that the other cousin is the one that actually brought the syphilis to the area when she had come, and she eventually spread it through all of them.
Yeah.
And so Ann had convinced Tom that Laura had given the syphilis, and basically he said, "Whoever gave me the syphilis, I'm going to kill." They don't think that he meant that literally, but that he was that mad, and it really, I don't want to give away what actually happened on who killed what, but he was convinced to be a part of it, and he wasn't actually.
And also, she asked, did Laura know that they were having an affair?
Oh well, they all knew. All the cousins knew. The thing was, they were hiding it pretty much from James Milton, the husband of Ann. So, and he was an older man, so maybe he didn't give a crap, at all at that point. But she definitely, we know that Tom was convinced to take the blame for it.
Yeah. And that was the final question she had. Were there any other suspects?
No, there wasn't actually, because there were so many witnesses. You have to remember, in a small community. When you read the book that Dr. Fletcher had put out, you consider yourself walking down a path, and all these people, all these farmers, see you at this time, and this one sees you at that time. So they really had you couldn't walk anywhere and sneak around without somebody seeing you in the community. So they got that from when they did the trial. They did the trial twice because he was convicted the first time, and then something happened where it went to a mistrial, even though he was convicted of it in the second one. So they had brought all these people in to testify what they had seen and what times, and so that's really how they, that's how they convicted him. But meanwhile, I don't want to give away the mystery of it, but so most of it's through the trial records and the eyewitnesses that they came to the conclusions and all.
It is a fascinating story. Thank you for answering those questions. I hope I
You're welcome. There's easily
any spoilers
45 different versions. I mean, there's so many different versions, and even to this day, there's relatives that are still fighting about it, saying that this one did it and that one did it, which I do believe the book that Dr. Fletcher had put out is a great book, and if you want to really know the true answers, read that book. Because for years, I didn't know, I just went by all the different documentation and videos I'd watched, and didn't and having a historian that I worked with so close with, Ray. Now Ray was he's also an actor as well, and he played Tom Dooley in the play of Tom Dooley for 12 years. So he knew a lot of the history about Tom, and he had his own suspicions and things like that. So it was great to work with somebody like that for my episode.
Yeah, there's just so much there. And like I said, I basically knew just the story from the song and knew it was based on a true story or parts of it. That was another thing that I discovered, that the song says it paints a picture of a heartbroken man who killed his lover after she left him for another. But it took a lot of liberties, I think, with the actual details of the case.
Oh yeah. There's so many different versions, but and originally I was going to put the Kingston Trio version in, but after having Laura do her version, I was like, forget about the Kingston Trio.
Yeah, that was a kick-ass version, if you don't mind saying so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and she is such an amazing singer. I mean, she just like in the beginning where in the opening scenes where she's just singing a cappella. That's amazing voice.
Yeah, that gave me chills.
Yeah, and me doing the time lapse and over the different clouds and things like that. It's just really, I was getting chills as I was editing it and putting it together, and that's how I knew it was onto something good. And I would always try and keep that standard through all my editing.
Well, let's go ahead and shout her out. Does she have a presence on the web or like a Spotify or a?
Oh yes, she's her name is Laura Reed, and her partner and the name of the group is Lore, Lore, and that's how you can find them. And you can actually find them at info.com, whatislore.com, and that's her site. And she's an international artist. I mean, she's been traveling the world for years. She's also a blues harmonica player. She's an amazing harmonica player, which you didn't hear that in that song. But if you Google her, just Google Laura Reed on YouTube or any of these Spotify, and you'll pull up all her videos. She probably has 15 different videos, and she's all about peace and love and bringing positive vibes in the world. I mean, that's what she sings about.
Yeah, and I found the webpage here, whatislore.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. And the quote here from Rolling Stone: Nashville blues singer Laura Reed and guitar wizard Laura Jolmetz, I think I'm saying that right, teaming up for a new project. Laura, a grunge rock band that mixes Reed's mesmerizing vocals with Jolmetz's second nature playing. And it just, that was some incredible guitar playing too.
Oh yeah, she's played with many. She's played with George Clinton over the years. She's played with so many famous people. And like I said, I think in the last year or so she was in Spain. She goes all over the world, of Spain. She goes on tour in different countries. She's amazing. And just as a person, she is such a cool lady. She really is.
Yeah, what I heard, I was just enthralled. So yeah, it looks like
I have an
yeah,
interesting. When I first met her, I met her at a festival here in Raleigh, and we got to talking afterwards. I just loved her music, and I told her what I did and this and that. She goes, "Oh my God!" She goes, I'm recording this song, Tom Dooley. It's a rock version." And I said, "Wow, that's so funny." I said, because I said I'm actually making a show about Tom Dooley.
uh,
This is 3 or 4 years ago, and she goes, "Serendipity,
yeah,
serendipity."
there
And
are no consequences.
yeah, she's like, "Would you like to use my song in your show?" I was like, "Oh my God, of course." Um, and she didn't want anything for it or this or that, and I was so blown away when she finally sent me it. And she told me that her family member owned a historical home somewhere, and had told me that it was active. And I said, "Well, have you ever had anybody go in and investigate it to find out what's there?" And she goes, "No." She said, "But when I've gone there for the last 20 years, I pick up on what's there." I said, "Well, would you?" I said, "I would really like to go and see what I could find for you because you've been so nice to me and so generous to me." And so I did. I went. It was about a 2-hour drive. I went. It was nobody was in the home at the time, and I went. I spent about 3 hours there, and I recorded all kinds of EVPs, and they actually captured in the dining room looking out at me. I took a bunch of photos. There's a black shadow figure kneeling by the dining room table, looking at me, and I caught it on camera. And then I also had multiple EVPs as well. There's the link right there. But I couldn't believe what I had captured. Just went there. It was in the afternoon, it was daytime, and just did my thing and spent about 3 hours there just talking to the house. And so I was so happy that I could do that for her.
Amazing. Yeah, I look forward to listening to more of that. Thanks for turning me on to that. I'm a big fan of all kinds of music, so something to listen to there. And just the name, Lore, I like that name.
Yeah, listen to a song called "Better Days," and it's so uplifting. And she's all about her music is world music, and it's all about positivity and love and
Like I said, there are no coincidences, only synchronicities, and that was serendipity that
yeah,
you two got together.
it was amazing. And then when she sent me all the separate files that I could use, I was like, "Oh my God, wow, this is like incredible." And she went into the studio and recorded it. Basically, I mean, she was putting it out anyway, but like you said, definitely serendipity.
Yeah, amazing. And like I said, the voice alone, just the acapella part there gave me the chills. And then the farther it got into it, and then when that rock guitar kicked in, it's just like, wow, I never imagined a version of Tom.
And even in the very opening scene, that's the instrumental that her guitarist was playing. So that's the very beginning of it, and that's Tom Dooley, but instrumental wise. And when it's opening with the river scene, and so I couldn't thank her enough for doing that.
Yeah, she knocked that out of the park.
She really did. Amazing. And then my other good friend is the one that did all the violin work, the dual violin, and then she also wrote the song "Little One," which she knew nothing really about Tom Dooley, but I told her the story, and then she created the story about looking for Laura, like Laura was missing. Where's this little girl? And incredible song that she wrote basically just for the show.
That's amazing. So will you have more stuff with her coming up? I mean, is she going to work on your next episode with you, or?
I'm not sure. Like I said, I have another artist. Her name is Carol Lee, and she's out of Wisconsin. And I've been following her for a few years. And then recently, last year, she came to Richmond, Virginia, and I drove up there and I filmed her. I filmed her whole show and got to meet her, and super nice, super talented. And she's the one that has the song called "Kingdom" that is kind of based with children in it, and I wanted to use that to incorporate with the old school that I have, because I have old photos of the actual children that went to the school in the 40s. I have the photos, so I want to kind of blend that in the opener and use her song as well. But Laura Reed, yeah, she's amazing, and I was hoping I told her, I said if she eventually wanted to make a video for Tom Dooley, I talked to my friend the historian, and because it is a museum, you have to get permission. But I said if you're interested, we might be able to shoot the video at the jail. I said, how wild would that be for you to be at the jail where he was, and you're shooting the video for Tom Dooley?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so if she's ever interested in it, we can accommodate that for her. I just think it would be great. Because nobody else is putting out a rock version of Tom Dooley.
I never would have imagined that. That caught me totally off guard in a most delightful way.
Oh yeah, because the original version is, like I said, a folk more
Kingston
blues.
Trio. It's just kind of it's a good song, but it's very, very dated. You don't hear a lot of folk singers anymore.
And I really want any way you can, I'll send you the actual version of, and you can. And you should be able to find it on that website for Laura as well, because she did put out Tom Dooley in March of this past year. So you can, I would love for you to be able to share it with anybody you can.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, happily
what I love about it is we're actually keeping the story alive and sharing with new people and new generations that didn't know anything about it, and now by having a more rock version, it makes it more appealing.
And I'd love to share. Do you think she would give me permission to play it on this show?
Oh, sure.
Okay, send it to me when we get done here, and I'll add it to the end of the episode. I love it.
I'll write her as well. But
okay,
yeah, she's all about promoting it. Yes, and she wants to share it. She grew up here in North Carolina. I think she was born in Africa, and then her family moved to North Carolina when she was young. And she told me, she said, when I was little and I was in elementary school, they used to play Tom Dooley, and we had to learn all about it. She goes, how morbid is them playing this song for these little kids about stabbed you with your knife,
Yeah. I love those murder ballads. Johnny Cash had Delia's Gone, and Knoxville Girl. That's a famous one. There's a lot of those.
She goes, how morbid was that being 6 years old and singing a song about somebody getting murdered? I said, well, that's North Carolina for you.
But forward me that
I sure will.
when you get a chance, and I don't have to upload this episode until Saturday, and I'll put it in the mix there.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here pretty soon. Anything you want to add, or anything else you got coming up that you want to talk about, Michael?
I'm actually, this weekend I'll be in Virginia. I'm going to the Nightmare Fest, and I'm going to meet director John Carpenter.
Oh, wow. Love to meet him.
Who is the creator of my favorite movie, Halloween.
The original Halloween.
Yeah, and all these other movies. I heard that he was, my son is involved with these different expos, and so he was able to get us some passes to go up there for the weekend. So me and him are gonna, which is so rare that my son gets to go do anything paranormal with me. That's not his thing. But he's helped me a lot over the years, and so for us to both go to a nightmare that has all the horror people that you can think of this weekend. So we'll be up there.
I would love to go there. I've been to a lot of different conventions, but I've never been to just a strictly horror convention. But I've always wanted to.
It's going to be amazing.
I used to go to the one in New Jersey, I think Chiller Theater or something like that. And he would have all these stories, have his picture made with all these people. And I'm just like, wow, I want to do that. And now that I'm in New England, I'm close to New York and New Jersey and things. I might get to go to some of those.
Yes, definitely. And if this one is really successful, you might, maybe next year you can come down and be a part of it, with us.
God, that'd be great.
Yeah. Richmond is a beautiful city, and there's a lot. The Edgar Allan Poe Museum is right around the corner from there. And I actually went there when I went up to film my friend that was performing last year. And I went for the day, and I did some recording while I was there when nobody was around. And I actually got some EVPs at the museum.
Oh, now where is this museum located?
It's right there in Richmond. It's right off the main. It's right off of 95 right there in the city, and it's called the Poe Museum, and it's not where he lived, but it's where all his artifacts are, all his like his childhood bed. When they were tearing down the house that he was born and raised in, they tore the stairs out and they brought the stairs over and they put it in this building. So when you're walking up the stairs, it's the stairs from his house. So it's amazing things. And it has all his artifacts. It has the raven. It has everything. And I actually captured a few things while I was there when nobody was in the building. So I was there by myself, and I did some recordings. And I always introduced myself, and I said, Mike, Heritage Hunters. And I have a man saying, I said, who's here with me? And you hear Poe, and it says Heritage. So it says Poe and Heritage in the EVP. I'm like, wow. Holy crap.
And,
wow, that was wild.
There's a Edgar Allan Poe connection in Rhode Island, too.
Yeah.
They're in Providence. That's where we went to. I went to Swan Point Cemetery, and that's where Poe would stroll with Sarah Helen Whitman. When he proposed to her, that's where I proposed to my wife. And then we actually said our vows at Lovecraft's grave, which is also there in Swan Point Cemetery. So there's some horror aspects in there as well. But yeah, I'm a big Poe fan. I'd love to check out that museum.
Oh yeah, well if you come to Richmond for the conference, it's right there. I'm planning to take my son there. And like I said, it's cheap. It's like $10 to go in, and you can wander around the whole place, as long as you want. So. Yeah, to see his childhood bed right there, that was pretty wild, and then all his artifacts, and to see how horrible he was treated as a child after his parents.
Yeah, he's just a tragic figure, but Poe's been a lifelong favorite. My mom turned me on to Annabelle Lee when I was, I think, in the 3rd grade or something like that, and I just never looked back.
Oh wow! Well, you'll have to come explore with us.
Good deal. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. We've been talking with Michael Chiana of the Heritage Hunters Society. Again, Michael, thank you for joining us, and look forward to the general release of
always love being on your show.
Your Tom Dooley episode. Again, I'll put a link to your YouTube channel in the notes. I guess there's not a page on Prime Video for it yet, so I can't point to that right now.
Once it gets approved in the next few days, I'll send you the link, and then you can share it with everybody.
And I'll also put a link in for Lore, the group. And if you think she'll let us play it here without getting in any trouble, I'll put her version of Tom Dooley at the end of this episode, and it is amazing.
That'd be great, and I'll write her, and I'll make sure. I'm sure she's fine with it, and I will double check, but I will send it to you. And yes, I think that'd be
all right.
Thanks again, Steve.
Yeah, my pleasure. And that's going to wrap it up. Oh, thank you. Yep, I may be holding. They're in there sleeping right now. I'm going to go join him until he wakes up. He'll wake up before midnight, ready for a feed. But you've been listening to everything out there on the Clyde Lewis Ground Zero Radio Network. I'm Steve Stockton. We were talking to Michael Chiana from the Heritage Hunters Society. Links in the show notes. We'll see you a little further on down the trail. On behalf of Michael and myself, everybody have a good night. Tell your animals we said hi.
Echo Sessions is made possible by
It's a Subi
Prestige
thing.
Subaru.